Good evening, everyone. Welcome to this week's edition of Sisters of Legacy. We are going to run our intro and we'll be right back. All right, good people, we are back. Again, welcome to this week's edition. It's been a minute since we've been on. I can make a bunch of excuses, but the reality is sometimes time just does not permit. But we are here tonight. Myself, Samantha Walker, and my wonderful co-hosts, ladies.
Shanetta.
Vanessa.
We've been doing this for a while, and they still, every time it's time for the intro, everybody freezes. It never ceases to amaze me. But we are here, and in my mind, anyway, I feel like we have a great topic, and so we are going to talk about it. So, ladies, of course, I sent you guys the video of what's his name, Jonathan Majors or whatever, and he was with Ayala Van Zandt, is that her name, Ayala? And they were having a moment, and in the moment, probably due to all the things he's been through, she kind of went above and beyond to comfort him. And from my perspective, what I was watching, I felt like she was restoring him. She was making him feel like it's all right, you're all right, you're gonna be okay. The way she rubbed his shoulders, like rubbing the weights off and all of those things. So when I watched it, I took away that, in that moment, she was restoring him because by media standards, he had kind of been blackballed, I don't know, fallen from grace, however you want to say it, by media standards, of course. And so it got me to thinking in our communities, in our relationships, do we actually restore people? Like, do we really restore people? And so before I'm gonna let you guys answer, what you think, and then I'm going to read the definition of restoration. But I want you guys to answer. What do you think? Do we restore people, or do we just label them and put them out to trash, or put them in the corner, or
I would have to say, as a whole, I think that a lot of times we don't know what restoration looks like. It's like once someone has offended, they are forever labeled as an offender. And we move about throughout the community with that label, or like you're a liar, you've always been a liar, you're always going to be a liar. You're a cheater, you're always going to be a cheater. Like, it's just like once a label or a title has been attached, I think, to an individual, many times as a community, it's kept. And if it's not kept, something drastic has to take place to make it look or feel different. So I don't think that we know or have a good comprehension of what restoration should look like.
okay, that's fair, Vanessa. Are you talking? Wait, I can't hear you.
Here I miss.
Okay.
Repeat the question. No. I don't know. Like, I think it just depends on the setting and kind of like your thoughts about it. Like I've been, I mean, we've all been like, let's just use the church community, your whole life. And so, you go to some churches where, you're welcomed, you're embraced, you feel comfortable from day one. And that's, where you feel like, you can be vulnerable, you can grow. And then there's, some situations where um, it's not as inviting. So I don't know. I just kind of feel like in today's society, it just kind of depends on the setting to which, you can find what you may feel restoration is or what that looks like for you. You know what I'm saying? Like in some of the situations where it's an inclusive community, then restoration is sure to follow because we're not closed off and our thought process about things is not so narrow minded to say that you have to fit into this particular box. You know what I'm saying? I think to some degree, it kind of just, it just depends. I feel like it may be something that is definitely I don't want to say more open, but you have a better chance of restoration to me, it seems like today than in a lot of different settings. Because like I said, our viewpoints of things are more open in the community about what you've done and how to get you back to where you need to be.
Okay. Do you guys feel like restoration and forgiveness are the same things? Like, do they go hand in hand?
So literally, I was trying to hurry up and grab my handy dandy pencil and write something down before I forgot because we all know how, works up here sometimes. You be thinking something and it goes away fast.
Right.
And I literally wrote restoration equals forgiveness equals replaced to position. Um, that's kind of like what I jotted down really quick as to what I think it might mean. So if it equates to forgiveness, I think that there is some factor of forgiveness within the process, but I don't think that that's all that it is. Because I think that you can forgive, but still not fully restore. So I do think that forgiveness is a factor
Okay.
in restoration, but not the only piece.
Okay. So me and Anthony were talking about that and he was saying like forgiveness. And I really started thinking about that. Like, do we ever really forgive people? Because like in my mind, forgiveness and restoration kind of go hand in hand. I mean, even biblically, like Vanessa, you say, growing up in the church or being in the church for more than 20 years, which all of us have definitely been in the church for more than 20 years. Like, the famous scripture, if your brother's overtaken in the fault, restore such a one. Do we do that? When the fault was committed, right? When the fault was committed against us, do we do that?
I don't think we do. I think that like because the fact that you hear it, I guess, preached and taught so often lets us know that it's probably not something that we're really good at doing. Um I heard you say that they go hand in hand and I'm like, yeah, they're supposed to go hand in hand.
Okay.
But like, does it really though? Because like when you're talking about restore such a one, that means put him back where he was.
Right.
If I'm restoring something, if I'm replacing something, if I need like, let's take it away from it being connected or equated to people, right?
Right.
If I am restoring the foundation of my house, I'm
Mhm.
putting the foundation back where it was. Like I am having people come in and they're like, if I'm restoring the paint, like if I'm painting my house and I'm restoring this property, I
Mhm.
am making this property what it once was.
Right.
So I'm fixing the foundation, I'm painting, I'm changing the window sills, I'm doing all these things to make it just as good as it was. And I don't think we really do that with forgiveness. I think that we're like, yeah, I'm not mad anymore. I'm not holding you, like I'm not dangling it over your head. Like, remember when you did that? Remember when you did this? But I don't think that we practice actively putting people back in our lives where they once were. We're like, oh, I forgive you. but I'm not going to forget and I'm going to move on. Or I forgive you, but I'm not giving you place in my life anymore. And we just kind of like, pretty much politely told them to kick rocks.
Right. So, but is that really forgiveness? Yes, I'm not saying to you every time you talk to me, I'm not going to ask you nothing because I know you're a liar. But even though I've forgiven the 15 lies you may have told, while you're talking, like different things you're saying, I'm like, yeah, he probably lied again. Like, so have we really, like, are we really forgiving? Or do we just say, yeah, I forgave you because that's what we're supposed to say? Like, think about it really, really hard. And I'm only saying that because, like, I've really been thinking about this. And I was like, oh my God, like, have I really forgiven people? Because it was like my motto. Like, yeah, I can forgive you, but I ain't messing with you though. Like, and I've really been thinking about this. Like, have I really forgiven you? Like, is that really forgiveness? Because I'm not messing with you because in my mind, you're going to do it again. This is who you are. So, like, did I really forgive it? Because all I see you as is still that thing, whatever that thing was. So, like, I don't have, are we really forgiving people? And so, like, for me, I really think forgiveness and restoration, like, if you can take that friend that did, I don't know, whatever it was, right? And if you can, I feel like if you can restore them to being your friend again, I feel like that's a true sign of forgiveness. Like if I can restore you to the place that you formerly had, like that's a real definition of forgiveness. I mean, you see it all the time, even in relationships. Let's say husband and wives. You know, the husband cheat, and sometimes people stay together, but the relationship, like it
Right.
never, huh?
I said it's trash, it's straight trash because
Yes,
I'm
because
we got a whole lot vested in this thing, but yeah, you did, and I'm still because
right,
you
because she doesn't really forgive him. Whereas, and I'm just using an example, like you see, what's that girl from Mary Mary? Tina, is that her name? Like, the husband cheated and she, went all off the deep end. She was ready to go to hell and jail behind behind his cheating. And then now you see them, and I know cameras, action, it all look good when the lights is on. And you see them, and it's like, girl, you just acted like nothing happened. Even though that's the proper attitude. Like, at all accounts, by looking, it looks like they have restored, she's restored him to the place of being, her husband, her partner, the person that she's gonna do life with. It looks like, and I'm saying looks, I don't know what people do at home, but it looks like she's really forgiven and restored him. Whereas you see, let me think, you got Cardi B and Offset. How many times did he cheated? And I think now they trying to get a divorce. Like, even though they stayed together, the times that you've seen them together got fewer and fewer. So they were still married, but it doesn't visually look like they were able to really forgive and restore the relationship.
so like what Shanetta was saying about what you do in the process of restoration, like that's a lot of work. You have to
Right.
take away the old things. You have to replace some things. There may be like maybe the foundation is good, but maybe there needs to be some reinforcements.
Right.
Maybe it's going to take us some time to research what it was that may have deteriorated the wood or
Right.
whatever was in the beams or whatever if we're still using that analogy. So it's not the fact that we're human, that mechanism does not change because we've decided to forgive someone or,
Right.
attempt restoration. So it's a process and it
Right.
takes work. And if you're not intentional
Right.
about the work that it takes, then it's never going to be restored, especially to its original state of being whole. You know what I'm saying? Like, think about how, like, people be in relationships and you have to get involved because, they fighting or whatever. So you come over and you break up the fight and now you taking her with you. She ain't got to put up with this, blah, blah, blah. And then, a couple of days later, after it's all said and done, they hot and heavy and they back together again. They good, but I'm still holding on to what you did to my friend.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? That's how, like, we talk about relationships and how much you want to share with people, because after you vented and got over whatever it was and got all that off your chest, and now you back in La La Land and you all lovey-dovey and happy, the rest of us are still holding on to certain things that you've allowed to let go. So I think, like, when you think about it, in all honesty, your initial thought of forgiveness, if you really want to forgive someone, that may be your intention. That may be where you are initially. But as you continue the relationship and the dynamics of it, that's when you really have to look at what was done and the work that it's going to take to repair it. Because I can say, I forgive you because you did A, B, C, and D. I'm not finna mess with you no more like that. I'm not. And for me, it's like that situation where it's like, you did what you did, you showed me who you are, so I'm going to take that at face value. I'm not going to hold that against you and say that I'll never speak to you or I hate you or anything of that sort. But for me to be okay to move on in some regard, I can't be holding that stuff against you. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, if I'm being honest, when I look at relationships that have damaged or broken or whatever the case is, like, in me being true to who I am, I have to figure out how I'm going to move on and what that looks like for me. Because I can want to forgive you, and then, like, you have, again, like, because I'm human, my principles and my character, what I stand on, like, I'm not about to just, you know what I'm saying? But at the same time, in the true meaning of restoration and forgiveness, like, okay, I really need to reevaluate, like you said, have I really forgiven you if those things are still an immediate thought? So then, you kind of start looking at, okay, well, I guess I could probably do a little more, say or be or change things. And that's when, you get to the heart of even knowing what it was about that situation that caused you to be so damaged and so scarred to where you feel like you can't forgive.
You like you were taking notes, Shanetta.
I definitely was, and I was definitely Googling, looking up things too.
Okay.
So where I am in just thinking about everything that Vanessa just said and everything that you were asking is that I think that while they can walk together, forgiveness and restoration, they are not one and the same.
Correct.
So forgiveness is, I'm not angry or mad about what you did to offend me anymore. I have released that. I am not, I've forgiven you for that.
Okay.
I am not mad. I am not angry. You offended me. I'm not holding that against you. But I think that you make a choice actively to decide whether or not once you forgive, you will restore. Think about it from this aspect. So when we talk in scripture about adultery, extreme example, if my husband cheats on me and I choose to leave, I have every right to do so.
Absolutely.
Including according to scripture, I have every right to be like, yeah, you cheated on me, I'm out. But I can't hold the grudge if I want to make it in, right? So I have to forgive him if I want to make it in, but I do not have to restore him as my husband if I want to make it in. Just like what we were talking about with the Mary girl, right? She chose to restore. She chose forgiveness and restoration. I could very well choose, like Cardi B, and well, I don't know if she forgave or not. I don't even know their situation. But I could very well choose to leave as a result. But in my heart, I'm required by God to forgive, but I'm not really required by God to restore. I'm moving on. I'm free to go live my life, fancy free, footloose, whatever they say. and just kind of like, meet a new boo, move on. He's, according to scripture, he got to deal with, all the stuff. So in considering that, I do think that I kind of still stand on, they can go together, they can walk together, but they don't necessarily have to. They can also go separate ways. So I can forgive you and be like, yeah, I forgive you. I'm not holding a grudge against you, but you are not my homie no more. So Sam, like, you've offended me a couple of times. I forgive you. I'm not mad at you, but like, we can't do dinner no more. We're not hanging out. I'm not coming to your house. You don't need to come to mine. I'm good on you. But I'm not mad at you. I'm not holding nothing against you. I'm not out here like I can't stand her. Nope, I'm not doing any of those things, but I'm good on you.
Okay.
Come on, bring it.
But I mean, because okay, so like this week, well, maybe a couple of times in the last 2 weeks, there's a person that will remain nameless that kept crossing my mind. And then a couple of times I even, start typing a text. I was like, N-word, please. And then I delete. And then I was like, then I was like, oh, you know what? I'm just going to call. I told my husband, I'm going to call. Then I was like, nope. And and I kept doing that. And I'm like, the more I was back and forth, I was like really thinking like, why is this such a hard thing? Like, I said, oh yeah, I forgave him. I ain't mad. I don't really mess with them like that. Like all of the things. I said all of the things. Like, when I see him, them, they, I'm just like, hey, whatever, we can have really all of those things. But like the more that I was thinking about it and looking at it, I'm like, have I really forgiven people? Because I forgave you, but I just pushed you to the side. Like, when I see you coming, if I can go the other way, I'm gonna go the other way. Because I don't really want to deal with you. Because in my mind, you're that offender. Like,
okay. So look at the definition of forgive, though.
Mm-hmm.
So the definition says to stop feeling angry or resentful towards someone for an offense, a flaw, or a mistake. That's the definition of forgive. That does not mean that we're besties again.
Right. I got you.
So I would say yes. Like now, if the person walks into the room and you just like, I can't stand them, I gotta go. Maybe I would question your forgiveness versus if they walked in the room, you're like, hi, and you just kind of gone on about your business because that's not your friend no more, and you kind of treat them as such. They're not my friend. Like, what? I'm not gonna be all in their face. Like, it's like a stranger. You restore them to the state of a stranger. It works. See, look at that.
Touche. Oh my goodness. That was the way you just threw that all in there, boy. You were something.
Yeah, no. He said, but is that forgiveness if you no longer want a relationship?
You're not finna force no relationship on me, sir. Okay. You heard Shadetta. We are restoring you to stranger danger. Do you understand me?
I'm just saying, is that like a sly way to like not really forgive them?
Honestly, I think it just depends on the relationship. Like, if we were friends and we were good, and for whatever reason we're not good anymore, and I'm able to be okay with us not being good, and I have forgiven you, then the relationship, I don't have to have that relationship with you. That is not essential for me to maintain that connection to you. So in essence, like, again, I mean, if I'm not, you know what I'm saying, like holding a grudge and doing all of the things that continue to harbor those feelings, then in essence, I've forgiven you. But if there's any room for me to continue my relationship with you, then I'm going to have to reevaluate. Is there a level of forgiveness, perhaps, Shanetta?
So let me ask you.
I lay that to you. Is there a levels to forgiveness?
The way you said, if you do something or whatever, and I've decided we ain't friends no more. Tell me Like in your mind, what are you telling yourself is the reason you're not friends anymore? Oh, can you hear me? Because I'm
Yeah,
Yeah,
you're not moving, but we hear you. Okay, there you go.
okay. So it's like you're saying I'm not friends with her no more because she stepped on my toe 47 times or whatever it is. So
Right.
like if that's how you see me,
Uh-huh.
if that's still how you see me, like the liar, like, oh, I know she gonna lie, I ain't even about to talk to her. Have you forgiven me?
No,
And
I
that's
don't
all
see
you
you like that anymore. But I'm not. I'm not. Go.
you know what?
Wow. I feel like again that's gonna depend on what we're talking about. You know what I'm saying? Like if
Right.
you keep stepping on my foot, the only way to save these toes is to get away from you because you're not gonna stop stepping on my foot. I've forgiven you for your inability to stop stepping on my foot, but am I gonna keep just putting my foot out there like that? I need my toes. I need my foot. You know what I'm saying? Like for me, that's kind of the dynamics. Like if we part ways for whatever reason, and I'm able to forgive you and say that that is like I don't see you that way anymore. But again, in my humanness, in me being true to me, like I'm gonna be like, hey, mhm, I've forgiven you, but I'm not. We're not about to revisit that. But for me, like I said, being I can't like I really can't pretend. And I'm gonna get. I think I talked about this before, right? So there was a situation with someone that I had. In my opinion, we weren't friends yet, but I'm sure that
Okay,
that's
let's see. The
how
good
she.
elder says forgiveness comes with boundaries.
See levels. That's for me. That speaks to levels of forgiveness, like right. So like this person, right? We were getting cool or whatever, and we had this, bond, so to speak. And she did something that I had asked her not to do. That I've said on several different occasions. Yo, this right here, I don't play about this. Do not do this. And she did it. Then I had to sit with myself like, I know she heard me when I said not to do the thing that she very well went and did. And now there are consequences for me for what you did. And then you come and you apologize, right? And she's like, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean for this. And I'm like, but yo, I said to you clearly not to do these things, right? And she's so sorry. And I'm like, okay. I had to sit with that thing for a minute, like, okay, so she did it. I can't harbor these feelings for me personally because it's it's just not good for me. I'm not at peace with having these issues and these concerns, to that extreme, being angry and upset with her. But I had to be honest and let her know, like, yo, you did this. I'm gonna need a minute. I don't know which way I'm gonna go with, with our relationship, but I'm gonna need a minute to sit in my feelings and figure out how I move on. Because like I said, me being true to me, if I told you not to do something and you just went and you did that anyway, like I don't know how much of this relationship you respect for me to continue and put myself in another situation. Well, I'm gonna have to give you a two-piece, no sides, no biscuit. I'm just saying.
Okay, so Anthony said forgiveness can't have a but. The good elder said, but there's a difference between forgiveness and restoration or reconciliation. Okay, Shanetta, you want to say something?
so you asked the question, do you still see the person that way, like whatever way they were at the point of the offense? Absolutely. Yes, I still see you like that. You're a liar. You haven't done anything different. I forgive you. I'm not mad about it anymore, but I know you for the fruit that you bear. And I will identify you by the fruit that you bear until you bear something different. What have you done to be restored, or what work have you done to try to like regain that access? So going back to the example that you gave with Mary, right? She restored her husband, but in not knowing all the details, I'm going to make a good assumption here, right? I'm assuming that he did the work. I'm assuming that he made some promises to her. I'm assuming that he showed her in his ways and his actions that I'm not going to return to the behavior that you saw from me before. So so that restoration could take place because we're both doing the work. I'm not mad anymore. You're changing your actions. You've repented.
Okay.
So because we're both doing the work, we can now restore the relationship. But
Right.
if it's very one-sided, then I don't think that it's you have the right to see them for who they are and the fruit that they bear. And if I'm looking at you and I'm like, I forgive you, I'm not mad at you, and then you go over there to Vanessa and you start lying to Vanessa, and I'm looking at you have a conversation with Vanessa, and I'm like, she lying. She over there telling Vanessa the lies. I could not say to Vanessa anything, or I could, but it doesn't mean that I'm angry whether I choose to tell Vanessa, hey, that
She
happened
a liar.
before with that person, and she's a liar. You might not want to, like, do your own thing. I'm not trying to give you no opinions about nobody, but my experience says that she is telling lies, and I know what she's telling you right now don't have the truth in it nowhere.
My goodness.
So,
My
make your
goodness.
own decisions. Make good choices, Vanessa, and I can walk away. I'm not mad at you, but I gave Vanessa information. But now if I'm being vindictive and I go to Vanessa before you even open your mouth and I say to Vanessa, girl, when Sam get over here, she gonna lie to you about this. She gonna lie to you about that. She don't never tell the truth. And she this, that, and the third. And I wouldn't trust her if I was you. Now, if I'm being like that, then maybe I haven't fully forgiven because I'm being vindictive. I'm trying to turn Vanessa against you before she even has a chance to even meet you. But if I literally see you sit here and you lying to this lady, and I know you playing in her face,
Please tell me.
I say to her, Vanessa, she lying. Like, let me tell you how. In fact, let me give you the evidence. Look at this.
Receipts, Whitney. Pull out the receipts.
So I just feel like that it doesn't mean that I'm still angry or I haven't forgiven you. It just means the truth is the truth, and the truth not in you. So I gotta tell her.
So let me ask this with that scenario, right? How do we get the opportunity to see whether or not they can bear different fruit?
Right.
We don't cut all the limbs off.
Right. And you've already
like,
laid
give you an opportunity to do something different.
That was my
saying. You kind of may not know, but again now, it's just like nobody's telling you to be a fool. You know what I'm saying? So in those situations, it's like some people can stop lying. They could stop being a cheater. It's not that once a cheater, always a cheater. You know what I'm saying? Type situation. They could very well turn over a whole new leaf and be, a new tadpole on the leaf. I don't know. But I'm just saying, like, the question is, are you going to take that opportunity and to see what that could look like? And again, yeah, I'm definitely agreeing that it depends on the relationship because, I might forgive my man for something that he did and not give you not 1 second look about us trying to repair, do, or be better. So I think, it just really depends on because that was the next thing that I was going to say, right, Reverend over there. It depends on the value of that friendship and that relationship to determine the lengths to which you will go with that restoration because you may just be, stranger. That's all we can restore you to. No, I ain't give you any more than that.
You're back at square one. Square one was a stranger. Like I never knew you.
Yeah,
depart from me. You work of lies and iniquity. I never knew you. Eat it.
But even being returned to stranger land, stranger danger. I mean, do you ever give them an opportunity to not be a stranger again?
I
You
think
can
it depends on
reintroduce
what it
yourself. Like we'll figure.
is. I think, yeah, for me, honestly, like if you've offended me and we've stopped whatever it is, right, and I've forgiven you, I feel like if you extend the olive branch, if you say, I'm interested in whatever, what have you, then to me, that says more about how you feel about what you've done. You know what I'm saying? And so maybe we'll see. I might come around. It might take me some time, but I mean, if I, like Shanetta was saying, like if I see you, if you a liar and you always lie to me, and I quit dealing with you because of that, and then you go to the next person and you still on that trife, like give you a second chance to do what? What you've been doing? That's dangerous for the two of us. That's not going to be good for either one of us.
I agree with that sentiment.
Like I'm trying to live my best life. I'm trying to be great. Me being friends with you as a liar is not going to make me great. That's the prison ministry from the inside. I don't want to minister.
Not trying to go to jail.
I don't want no. I don't want I want to be able to leave after I finish singing and speaking to you about the goodness of the good Lord. I don't want to be in there in the suit behind the bars. Yes.
I have to say, I can tell you of a situation where I probably played the fool too many times. I had a friend, and from the beginning, the relationship was always contentious, is what I would say, from the very beginning. And she would do something and I would forgive her. She would do something else and I would forgive her. She would do something else and I would forgive her. And that went on for a very, very, very long time. So much so that, yes, a lot of berries. So much so that there were people around me who questioned my judgment because I kept allowing so much from her. And they were like, yeah, this is beyond you forgiving, forgetting, and moving on, or whatever the case may be. This is too much. And other people were literally like, hey, you've got to stop doing that. You can't keep giving her access like that, because the more you give her access, it gets bigger. It wasn't like, oh, she go back and do something little. It was like the next thing that she did would be a little bit bigger. And then the next thing will be a little bit bigger. And then the next thing will be a little bit bigger. And I literally played the fool for way too long as a friend. And yeah, and I had to get to the point where I'm like, okay, listen, I'm not mad. I'm not angry. I can sit in a room and absolutely tolerate you, but I'm going to absolutely in this room tolerate you like I never met you. And that's going to be me walking in, and because it's polite, I'm going to say hello because we're in the same space. When I walk into a space where people are, I say hello. I'm like, hey, good morning. How are you? And then I take my seat and I mind my business. And if I don't know people in the room, guess what I don't do? Talk. I just don't. If I don't know people in the room, I am not talking. You're going to have to say something to me unless it's like a forced, like we have to interact situation. I'm not going to say anything. I will come in and absolutely sit next to you. And I can sit like, them people that get on a city bus or on a train or something, they just start talking to the person they sit next to. I'm not that person. I am absolutely not that person. I'm going to sit down and I'm going to mind my business. In fact, I'm probably going to take a book out so you don't talk to me. So that being said, that's how I'm going to respond to that person going forward. And that's how I've grown with this relationship that was torn apart. I'm not angry with her, but she's in stranger status. I'm like, I don't know that girl. Now, if somebody else asked me about her, I would say, I didn't have a good experience with her, but do you? Your experience might be very different. You're a different person. So your experience might be different, or she might be different. I don't know. My prayer is that she is different. The only time I know her right now is if and there are moments where the Lord will bring her across my mind. And when that happens, I usually stop and pray for someone. Like if I think about you, like if I wake up thinking about you, I need to pray for you because one, I shouldn't be dreaming about you. So that means that the Lord want me to pray for you because that's the only reason he gonna drop you in my head while I'm asleep. So if I wake up and you're on my mind, I'm gonna say a prayer for you and kind of keep it moving. Lord, I don't know what's going on. I don't know what they need in this moment, but do it for them, God, in this moment. And that's kind of where I am with that particular person. Like I will, like if she come across my mind, I'll pray for her. But I absolutely will not invite her to dinner. I won't invite her to my house. If I had a puppy, I wouldn't invite her to my puppy's birthday party. That's where we are.
Not the puppy. The puppy is family, Shanetta. She can't
Okay.
come. There's a puppy party at my house where you cannot come. You are not invited. Pretty little liar.
Okay. Okay.
I do really feel like it depends on, like we said, quite a few things. The relationship, the value and importance of that relationship. And like I said, for me, it takes time for me. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm not gonna pretend like I'm about to just, you ask for forgiveness, I give it, and now we finna walk off into anybody's sunset. I'm not, you know what I'm saying? Like that's just not me. That's not me. That's not how I live my life. But again, like I'm honest enough to say, look, I need a minute. I'm gonna need you to give me some space and some opportunity to really think about what happened and the value that I place on that relationship. And when you're upset about it, you know what I'm saying? You may not see that, especially if you're what do they call them? Habitual repeat offenders. Like if you continue to do the same thing over and over again, like, yeah, nah, I'm not even trying to do the. I was thinking that like they switched because normally,
right, Shanetta be having this background. Listen, I would tell you,
that's the house where the party is that the liar can't come. That's where that is. But like I think, like I said, for me, like I have a couple relationships that are a work in progress, and because of me having to be true to who I am, like I said, I have to really sit with myself and be like, okay, it's happened. Where are we going to go with this? Like, how do I move forward? How do I be okay? And I have to express what that looks like in my moment with that person. I'm not about to pretend, and like I said, we're not going to be bestie boos or none of that. But to be honest with yourself enough to know your level, the boundaries that you need to create for your safe space, I think is just as important as knowing, I guess like what we doing and what we not doing. I can't do it. I can't pretend and be nobody else. I'm sorry. I'm old. I can't do it. But I will forgive. I will forgive.
I will say, in most cases, I'm fairly simple in the sense that, like, I'm more, if something happens and we could have a conversation about it, like we can talk it out, I'm good. We could be cool. Let's go to lunch. You know what? That conversation was draining. I'm hungry. Let's go get something to eat. Like, if we could really just like talk it through, whatever, I can move on. I can restore the relationship. Even if it was something blatant. But and when I mean talk, I mean both of us taking accountability for however this played out. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Like I could be good. I could drop it, move on, let's go. I'll hold on to it. I will say unfortunately I am of you could just say you're sorry. If you're sorry is good enough, yeah, I need more than I'm sorry. Like I need us to be able to unpack this. So for me, if there's no unpacking it, it's just a sorry. Yeah, I'm gonna forgive you in the sense that I'm not gonna let this little thing and you and your thing, send me to the fire. Like I'm gonna figure out, how to forgive you and put you in a box so that it doesn't affect me, like make me angry with you and all those things, but like restoration it won't be a thing. But with all the conversations, all the topics or whatever, I always just want to spark the thoughts. Like I really wanted you guys to really think, like, have I really forgiven people? Because sometimes I don't think we really think about it. Like we don't really, in our mind, oh, I don't see them, I don't whatever. They don't come up, it don't come up, and it's like, oh yeah, I forgave them. I don't think about them. But like sometimes I think we really need to unpack things and really see where we are in the moment as it pertains to different things. And also I thought it was, like I said, really great how she took that moment to try to restore him. I mean, in my opinion, whatever. But I thought her, especially being an elder, I thought it was a grand gesture. And it really just made me think about how we interact with um how we interact with one another. What did this man say? I said I'm sorry and I won't do it again. Dang. So since my husband keeps, let me tell you something about my husband. A
Uh-oh.
few years ago, right? Because a few years ago, he was the habitual I'm sorry man. It did not matter what happened. He was sorry. He just wanted the moment to be over. He wanted us to be good again. He was just, I'm sorry. And he really felt like that. Like I said, I'm sorry, dang, like why you still mad? Like why we can't be happy? Why we can't skip off into the meadow together? Because I said, I'm sorry. Now, again, that was several years ago, and my husband has grown and he's done the work. And I love you, husband, but him and the I'm sorry. But people do get into that space where they just feel like, you know,
Sorry.
like your mama make you say sorry. So it becomes like a habit. Oh, you mad? Okay, I'm sorry. I don't really mean it, but I'm sorry because you're mad. You know what I'm saying? So those
Or
things do
even
happen.
to the point where that don't make it okay for me just because you said sorry. Or even
Right.
if you be like, you know what, yeah, I'm sorry, you right. I almost said the N word. I don't want you to be sorry. I don't want you to be sorry, and I don't want to be right. I want you to do better.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? If you knew better, you do better. So don't come to me and just be like thinking because you said sorry, that's supposed to appease me and make the conversation or the offense just go away. But that's part
Yeah.
of being willing to be accountable and honest and do the work to
Absolutely.
restore um, your status in my life.
Yeah.
Right. So I think for this, you were the one that said it, relationships are work. Like, when people say, oh, marriage is work, people say, oh, marriage ain't work, but it is. It
Yeah.
is work. It doesn't have to be work like you on a chain gang, but it's work because you have to get involved. You
Yeah.
have to, you have to get in the game. You have to be present and active. You know what I'm saying? So that's where the work comes in. So all relationships do require some work. Again, this conversation was really about some self-discovery, some inflection. Everybody really think, have you really forgiven these people? Shanetta, we know that girl is a no-go. But maybe there's some other relationships, that you moved on from that, after this conversation, you might be like, well, maybe we could try to restore things to what they were. Maybe it might be worth a second look. That's always the goal, to see how we can do better and be better in the moment.
Stranger status.
Huh?
Stranger status.
Hashtag stranger danger.
Okay.
Sorry.
Restore.
Again,
Let
you
him
know,
rest.
it's a conversation. So at the very least, this thought will be pondering in your mind, and maybe there's somebody that cannot be stranger danger going forward, or just maybe you'll have to, do a little digging, a little deeper in the forgiveness pool. Whatever helps us become a better version of ourselves, because that is always the goal, to age gracefully, become wiser, become smarter, make better decisions, lead by example. All of us are mothers. All of us have children. Whether they're grown or not quite there, they're watching us. They watch how we interact and watch how we have relationships, because that's how they learn how to have them. Like, based on, what they see in us. So hopefully this conversation will cause you to think a little harder, really shake off that forgiveness for some of them people and look at it and see if it's really what it should be. And then in some instances we need to forgive ourselves. Sometimes we need to restore ourselves to being our own favorite person. Like, you need to be your most important person in the world. And I don't mean in a selfish way. I mean that you have to be able to take care of you so you can take care of everybody else. If you put yourself on the bottom of the list, then everybody else is sure to drown. Even in a plane, they tell you put on the mask first, and then you save all the other little people that you don't know. So it has to start with you. So let's think about, forgiveness. Let's review it. Let's think about restoration. It might be a relationship that was from 5 years ago, a friend, that's been crossing your mind, and you might need to dial them digits, shoot a text, whatever it is. It might be the season for restoration. Let's do something different. Guys, let's be better. Don't be laughing at me. Oh,
No, I'm laughing because you said they come across your mind, and in my mind, I'm like,
see, look. Yes, we gotta do better and be better people. I would say we are on every Thursday, but the way my teenagers are running my life, the goal is to be on Thursday, but my baby might be somewhere smacking a ball. Until volleyball season is over, I'm gonna strive to be here on Thursday, but unfortunately, I don't have that as a guarantee. But anytime you see us, watch a replay, hit a like, share a thought, we'll get it, and we'll be sure to address it. I thank you guys for your time. Ladies, any final words?
That was good.
All right. So until next time, guys, be safe, forgive somebody, work on an old relationship, do all of the things, as Shanetta would say. Bye.
Thank you for watching The Sisters of Legacy.